fight. Dice are clattering on the wood. Storylines misunderstood.
Good morning and welcome, my nerds. It is 8 o'clock in the morning. It is bright and sunny. Steve is laying in a sunbeam, and there are crows outside my window. I guess Harmony Ginger sent them to send hello. And we're doing dice fudging again because, of course, we are. I think I'll have a heart attack and die from not being surprised. Why is this a thing? Why? Why is this a thing? 51 years, and this is still a thing. Fudging dice. Should the DM fudge the dice? Should the DM not fudge the dice? Railroad versus sandbox. Balance versus unbalanced. Blah, 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 blah. Player agency versus blah, 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 blah. I wasn't even going to do this, but somebody emailed me about it, and then there was a video, and then another video, and I'm like, why are we doing this again? Really? I thought we resolved this. All right. Now, we're talking about dice fudging. We're obviously talking about the DM, because if we caught the players dice fudging, that'd be cheating, and cheating is bad. So it's talking about the player, but the GM, and whether the GM can manipulate what's going on behind the screen because they want an encounter to happen a certain way, or they don't want an encounter a certain way. So players cheating, bad. DM cheating, not so bad. So should the DM fudge, manipulate the dice, change the outcome? Well, this is a totally pointless argument, okay? You are the game master, the general operations director, the person in charge. If you want something to happen, it happens. If you don't want something to happen, it doesn't happen. That's it. There's no need to cheat, you know. I'm all for rolling dice in the open. Whatever happens, happens. If my monsters fumble, they fumble. If I roll a natural 20, there's natural 20. If the players walk into an unbalanced encounter, that's their fault. The universe gave them warnings, you know. They chose to have these second level characters fight the 30 hit die dragon. So that's you know, not on them. And if they die, well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's upsetting. I don't know that we're not talking about character death. I always find character death hilarious, but I guess I'm alone in that. Most people, I guess, are upset if their character dies, and they think it's not fun if the counters aren't balanced. Of course, it's fun. I don't want you to cheat, DM. If I succeed, I want to succeed on my own merits. If I fail, I want to fail because I made a bad choice or the dice was against me. If I succeed, then the reward to me is much more meaningful if I earned it, as opposed to, here's your trophy for participation, so I fudged the dice so your character didn't die and you succeeded no matter what. If you're fudging the dice so that we as the player succeeds no matter what, don't even bother rolling. Just tell us we succeed. That goes back to the whole argument of whether we should roll or not, you know. Just if you like, you know, 3 characters walk in, the encounters, you know, 8 orcs, you decide, I want them to roll. I want them to win. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. We win. We win, okay? There's no reason to roll dice. There's no reason to have any interaction, any level of uncertainty. Just have us win. Skip the middleman. And if you want us to lose, just have us lose. Skip the middleman. If you're going to fudge the dice, it's all or nothing. Otherwise, don't bother. Trust your players, trust the game, trust your monsters, trust the universe. If you wrote an encounter that was unbalanced, so what? That's the world. If you want them to succeed, they succeed. If you want them to fail, they fail. If you want things to happen the way they're meant to happen, i.e. the wonderful randomness of the game, then just let it play out, because, you know, sure, maybe it's an unbalanced encounter, but maybe they roll a natural 20 or 2 natural 20s. Maybe they come up with something that's so freaking brilliant that it circumvents the fact that it was, you know, an unbalanced encounter. You know, I can think of natural 1 situations that, you know, ruined what otherwise would have been very easy encounters, and natural 20 situations that totally changed the dynamics of the situation, no matter what, perfect natural one story where I'm running Tomb of Annihilation, and we have like the characters are like 3rd, 4th, 5th level, a hodgepodge of levels. We had a new guy come in, and he was running a 3rd level on Tomb of Annihilation, and they ran into a flail snail, which should have been a very easy encounter. The flail snail had like 15 hit points, but they rolled natural one after natural one after natural one. Like these 4th, 5th, 3rd level characters could not hit this flail snail. Meanwhile, the flail snail was just wrecking them. My dice were on fire. 15, 16, 18, natural 20, 14. It was like within 4 rounds, the flail snail had pretty much devastated the entire party, which it shouldn't have. It was a wussy little monster. They should have like killed it, but the gods were against them, and it was hilarious. Even the guy whose character died was laughing hysterically because he died to a snail. Everybody had a great time. Plus, it's frickin' 5th edition. Who cares if you die? Death in 5th edition is like a splinter. Oh, I get better. Let me see. There's like 10,000 ways to bring me back. There's 10,000 ways, to configure for me as a player to manipulate dice rolls, not counting things like luck or, inspiration or stuff like that. And even if I'm dead, I've got the 3 chances to make my death save. And then there's, if there's even a cleric in the party that even has a lick of, healing, I'm not dead. It is pretty difficult to die in 5e. So there was no reason for me to manipulate the dice because it was hilarious. Now, in another situation where I'm playing and they're up, this was like this year, where they're going up against a dragon. And the dragon probably, breath weapon should have won. But the female druid with her magic stone spells, they were magic potatoes, because that was just the way things ended. But damn, natural 20 with a potato. Killed the dragon after like 4 rounds of combat because she natural 20'd him with the potato in the head, did totally, outrageous amount of damage, and just basically killed the dragon with a natural 20 to the head, which, normally the pound for pound, the dragon should have won the fight. Claw, bite, breath weapon, dragon fear, all that stuff. But no, they were just very lucky with their dice rolls. They got a natural 20 from one of the fighters, and then she finished off the dragon with a natural 20 to the head with her potato magic and exploded it. And it was awesome, and everybody liked it. It was hilarious. It was fun. People were cheering because they earned it. They earned the victory. I did not fudge the dice. I don't feel the need to fudge the dice. Have I ever fudged the dice unconsciously? Yes. But why? Well, let's say the character has a magic item and they don't know they have a magic item, but I know they have a magic item. So they roll 14, which, shouldn't hit the monster in question for whatever reasons, but I know that they've got a +2 magic item. So that means I'm adding 2 in my head. So even if they say, 14, does that hit? And normally it wouldn't hit, but because they've got the +2, then I could say, oh yeah, it hit. You must have found a weakness in the chink of the armor. You just, you twisted the right way and got it right underneath the weak point. I don't know. You thought you were going to miss, but yeah, no, you got it. You got it right on the dot. Maybe from that conversation, they get a hint that there's something special about the weapon. Maybe they don't, but they got the +2, which was fudging the dice, but that was just basically there were bonuses in action that they don't know about. Everything the characters run into is a result of phenomenon they understand or phenomenon they don't understand, right? Now, there's things going on in the backgrounds that they may not know about. There might be magic in the dungeon that adds pluses or minuses. That is the only time you should really be fudging dice, if there's bonuses or minuses going on that they're not aware of, from magic or curses or whatever. Otherwise, no, don't fudge the dice. Don't tell yourself, oh, this natural 20 would have wrecked the party, so I'm going to lower it to 18. No, roll the natural 20. because maybe you're going to only do 2 points of damage. You don't know. You're going to roll your D8 and, 2d8, and you're going to go, oh, it's critical. I double the dice. I'm going to roll my D8. I know this is going to kill the guy. 1. Well, 1 times 2 is 2. Does 2 hit points kill you? No, OG, I've got 10 left. So now I have 8. All right. He I guess, just paper cut, just really, really bad paper cut. It bleeds way more than it should. 2 points of damage. You don't know. Maybe the natural 20 is useless. Maybe you kill them with the 18 because you're like, oh, I'm going to lower it to 18. I don't want to kill him. I'm just going to do the normal damage. Bam! 8. Plus 4 because it's an ogre. And you're like, okay, does 12 points kill you? And the guy's like, I had 4 hit points left. OG, yeah, I'm dead. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to roll. The result, everything that happens is a result of phenomenon you understand. Oh, did you bring me a toy, Steve? Thank you. Or a result of phenomenon you don't understand. There's no reason to fudge the dice. It is a slippery slope. And while I can't speak for most people, I can say personally, if I fail and my character dies due to my choices and dice rolls, that's me, and I will accept that. And most of the time, it's fucking hilarious. I know most other people don't agree with character deaths are funny, but possibly it's because every time a character I've been playing has died, it has been in a really ridiculously stupid situation. It's funny to me. It's funny. And I mean, I understand people get upset, but their characters get killed. I've seen people get upset with their characters get killed. They're very emotionally invested. And other people who just find it as ridiculously fun as I do. It's like, great, I killed my character. Yay. But we're not talking about character death because that's a separate topic. And I'm sure we'll cycle back to that before the year's over. Now we're talking about whether you should fudge the dice or not, GM. And the answer is no. Let them earn it. I think most players would rather succeed or fail on their own by their own skills, dice rolls, role playing, and being cleverness. You cannot fudge the dice because you don't know what they're gonna do, and they might come up with something that's so outrageous that they win in a situation where they shouldn't win. I talk about the time where I pushed the ogre, my first level mage with 1 hit point, pushed the ogre down the stairs, killed the ogre. I shouldn't have done that. I should have died. 1 hit point first level wizard whose only spell was detect magic versus an ogre with 13, 15 hit points plus 4 to hit, D8. Yeah, I should have been dead. But I was clever. I was funny. I was interacting with the world. I made the DM think, and I rolled a natural 20, and that changes everything. Player character natural 20 changes everything. Player character rolls an 18 and they've set all these bonuses up. You don't know what they're going to do. So don't fudge the dice. Let them have the freedom to succeed and blow your mind, or let them have the freedom to fail and blow your mind, because it will mean a lot more to them if they succeed on their own or they fail on their own. And if it's an overbalanced encounter, okay, well, maybe they should have paid attention to the warning signs. The pile of bones, the do not go in there, the natives telling them, you probably shouldn't do that, and if they still go into the unbalanced encounter, that's on them. That's part of the world. You wander off and you don't know, you could run into a squirrel or you could run into a silverback gorilla. And maybe the squirrel natural 20s you, and you're like, my character just got killed by a squirrel. Or maybe you natural 20 and do max damage against that silverback gorilla, and you're like, natural 20, motherfucker, 8 max damage, badam, dead your silverback gorilla. You don't know. So don't fudge the dice. There's no reason to fudge the dice. Just let it happen. Let it play out. Everything that happens is a result of phenomenon you're going to understand, or a result of phenomenon you don't understand. And the fun of the game is in that uncertainty. Otherwise, why bother? Why bother? If you've already set your mind to the idea that you are going to jigger the encounters to make sure the players win, so they have a good time and the situation is balanced, just fuck it. Don't roll dice at all. Just arbitrarily decide whether they succeed or fail. blah, 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 walking through the tomb of the Sandwich Lord, kick open the door, 14 goblins. Am I going to win this encounter? Am I going to lose this encounter? I've got a party of four first and second level characters against 14 goblins, heavily armed. Oh, I'm probably going to lose. I don't want my players to lose. I'm just going to, fudge it. You guys win. You just cakewalk through them. Don't even bother rolling. It's only 14 goblins. You hit on a 2 or better, just if you really feel you have to roll. Because I don't want you guys to lose. I don't want Bill to lose his character who's only got 4 hit points left. I want it to be a fair and balanced encounter. So yeah, your 4 second level characters just cakewalks. Just everybody roll, and as long as nobody rolls a 1 or a 2, you're fine. Does that sound like fun to you? Doesn't sound like fun to me. Maybe I'm alone. I don't know. Maybe everybody else thinks like, if the DM fudges the dice, it's okay. Me, roll them in the open. DM, roll them in the open. If there is a fudging involved, it's because magic or curses or there's, phenomenon in play that maybe the players don't know about. Again, cycling back to maybe one of the players has a magic item. Again, cycling back to maybe the room has a unholy curse on it where the monsters get a bonus because it's their lair or whatever. Sure, yeah, and then that would be the time you could fudge the dice, those extra +1s, +2s, +3s because of spells or magic items or whatever. But if you're fudging the dice just because, I really, really fucking hate this player and I want their character to die, so I'm going to fudge the dice until they do dice. Or I really feel bad because this encounter is unbalanced, so I'm going to fudge the dice to make sure they survive. Well, I'm not going to talk about that player who you really, really want to die because, that's dealing with personalities and that's another topic. But if you want them to succeed, they succeed. If you want them to fail, they fail. If you feel the encounter's unbalanced, and you don't, you want to fudge it in their favor, you win. Don't, make, as long as they're rolling, a 2 or higher, just let them, you hit. And if you want them to fail, you could just be like, unless they're rolling an actual 20. But how is that fun? That's, that's giving them a reward for showing up. You showed up to my game, level up, Once you start fudging the dice, it's a slippery slope because now you're just getting to they're already going to hit. They're always going to succeed. It wouldn't be fun if they didn't succeed. It wouldn't be fun if somebody died. Maybe they're not going to come back to my game if I let Bill's character die, no matter how stupid Bill's character is. So they just always succeed. Well, then, just let's ridiculously just go down that rabbit hole even further. How about just don't even bother? Just every time your players show up, level. And, thanks for showing up, guys. Yeah, level. You each get 500 gold pieces, and you each get a +1 thing of your choice. See you next week. I fudged the game. I didn't want it to be unfair to you guys. I didn't want you to have fun. So I just assumed you were going to win every encounter every ways. So I'm not even going to bother taking you through the dungeon. So yeah, you show up, you get your level, you get your 500 gold pieces, you get your +1 magic thingy of choice. I'll talk to you in a week. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a silly outcome. But I mean, if you're gonna fudge because you don't want them to fail, then just don't even bother. Don't even bother. Just give them the rewards. Because if I found out you were fudging to make sure I always succeeded and I didn't die, I don't know if I'd want to play. It to me, that's not fun. To me, if I win because I earned it. And the only thing you should be fudging are those innate bonuses or minuses because of like curses or blesses, or because they have the high ground, or because I have a magic item and I don't know about it, or because I have a cursed item or I don't know about it. That's when you should be fudging. Otherwise, no, don't fudge. If I win, I want to know that I won because of my character, my role playing, my dice rolls, my clever thinking, my unusual way for resolving the problems. And if I lose, I want to know I lose because I was stupid and the dice was against me and I didn't figure out the puzzle in time. And okay, I take my punishments. but I learn. And if the character survives, I'll know better next time. Or I won't know better next time. Maybe I'll repeat the same mistake over and over and over again. You don't know. You don't know what your players are going to do. You don't know what you're going to roll. Once the game starts, things are going to happen. And some of those things are going to happen the way you plan them. And some of the things are going to happen that are going to be totally ridiculous that there was no way to predict. And, you know, in a moment of excitement, some player is going to come up with some truly heroic, outrageous, clever, bend the laws of physics solution to the problem. And you're like, fuck, I didn't think of that, you know? Okay, well, now I got to take that into encounter because I just did all these things. And, you know, and then then in closing, in D&D, natural 20 changes everything. And as long as the players have the ability to natural 20, you should give them the freedom to enjoy their successes and enjoy their failures with very little help on your part. You are supposed to be impartial. You just represent the universe and you present them with the universe, and then you let them deal with the universe, and the universe reacts to what they're doing. Maybe they succeed. Maybe they fail. Maybe they do something totally ridiculous that there was no way you could predict. Maybe they go in a completely different direction and you're like, well, what about the 2 days work of adventure I just wrote? Fuck. Which again is the topic of a different video. Now, I don't know how we got on fudging. I thought we resolved this. Maybe you agree with me. Maybe you disagree with me. I don't know. Maybe you're like, no, I as the DM need to fudge to make sure they have a good time because otherwise they won't play in my game. And maybe you're like me where you're like, I don't fudge. If my players achieve victory, they achieve victory through their own cleverness, their dice rolls, the way their characters work together, and just the abject ridiculousness of the game. Plus 5e gives you so many ways to manipulate the dice. You know, there's spells, there's feats, there's magic items, there's inspiration, there's abilities, both passive and active. You know, there's advantage, disadvantage, flanking. Plus, it's just 5e. It's freaking unbelievably difficult to kill off a player character, much less have a TPK. The game is always geared towards player success. You know, players can do things that monsters can't. Sidebar, monsters can do the exact same thing that any player character can do. We just forget that. So, yeah, but 5e is a whole different kettle of fish because your players have so many ways to manipulate the universe that, you know, why bother? Why bother fudging the dice? If they succeed, if they fail, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe the mindset of gaming has changed, and maybe the game you want to play is just, you know, the characters succeed no matter what. And you know what? If that's what you and your players enjoy, fine. I wouldn't enjoy that other than maybe the social interaction part. But, you know, if I know I'm just going to a situation where nothing I do matters because it's already preset that I'm going to succeed or I'm going to fail, I probably won't play. I definitely won't play if you tell me that there's nothing I could do to change the outcome of the situation, even if, you know, because I would have been like, yeah, what if I rolled a natural 20? You don't know what I was going to do, so you can't tell me that nothing I could do to change the situation unless you've just scripted the encounter where the players fail no matter what. Well, if you've scripted the encounter, fudge the dice so the players' characters fail no matter what, don't roll dice. Just tell us we fail. Run the scene, do the DM fiat, bam. And if you've got a situation where you've decided the players succeed no matter what, don't have us roll dice. Just tell us the outcome. And maybe once or twice, that's okay. You know, a bunch of first levels against Dr. Doom, DM fiat, everybody slammed to the floor, teleported out. But generally, don't fudge the dice. I think it's more fun if you don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? I don't know. I mean, I know the mindset of players has changed, and the last 5-10 years, especially the last 2-3 years, with the idea that D&D needs to be safe and cozy, and the 6th edition mentality is way different than the way I've played for the past 45 years. So maybe I'm alone. Maybe 90% of you think that, yeah, a DM should fudge the dice to make sure it's fun, and to make sure nobody dies, and to make sure that everybody gets home safely. Or, you know, the DM just consistently decides there's no way that players can win this, so no matter what you do. And the last time I ran into there was no way you could succeed this no matter what, I told the character, the DM, what I had planned, and I was like, and you don't know what I had planned, you don't know what I had behind my back, and you don't know what dice I was gonna roll. What if I rolled a natural 20? Oh, natural 20 wouldn't have changed anything. Okay, well, what if I zapped him with the wand of shrinking, which was what I was going to do? Oh, well, you should have said that. You didn't give me the chance, remember? So yeah, I dropped out of that game because I don't believe in the no-win situation in Dungeons and Dragons, unless the DM specifically says there's no fucking way you can beat this. Now, we could go into the discussion of the DM fiat, those rare moments where the Dr. Doom, the Lich, just lays down the smack because it's, you know, comic books. And in comic books, that's something that happens where the no matter what, the supervillain can do those things. But in D&D, in fantasy role-playing, and the idea of this, you know, everything that happens as a result of phenomenon you understand or phenomenon you don't understand. Magic exists. The universe works on this very arbitrary, random situation of succeeding or failing. I don't know. Generally, I don't think, I've been saying this for like 27 minutes now. I don't think you should fudge the dice. I think you should just 99.9% of the time play it as it lies. Whatever happens, happens. If they succeed through grit, skill, randomness, and just clever ingenuity, let them succeed. Let them enjoy that success because they earned it, not because you gave it to them. And if they failed, let them enjoy, learn from, understand that failure because they earned the failure, not because you decided you wanted to kill them because they were annoying. Also, Fudge. You get it? Fudge. They're showing you pictures of Fudge because we're talking about Fudge. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You tell me.
Roll the dice and ride the wave. Quest and dragons, the news we crave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.